Adele from adelefrizzell.com here, and I want to walk you through how to use our macro calculator. You'll find it on our website at adelefrizzell.com, resources, macro calculator. Okay, so there are 4 steps to calculating your macros. The first step is to calculate how many calories you need every day. What you want to do here is just put in your gender, age. We'll put in this hypothetical person will be 48 years old, 6 feet tall, 185 pounds, a pretty sedentary lifestyle. They sit most of the day. They work out 4 times a week at the gym. Each workout is about 60 minutes. The workouts are kind of intense. This person breathes hard, challenges themselves. They're not there to make small talk at the gym. Calculate the total daily energy expenditure, and it comes to 2,268 calories. So what is the difference? Well, your BMR is how many calories your body needs just to function and to run your brain and pump blood and keep the operating system running, basically. This is your body at rest. Burns through quite a few calories, hey? Well, this person does anyway. Some people's BMR might be 1,200 calories. Anyway, with activity, this person needs 2,268 calories per day on average. Now, choose your goals in step 2. This is going to determine how many calories will be added or subtracted to your daily total. So, what is your goal? Is it fat loss? If so, choose the rate you would prefer. Do you want to go with a slower loss? This is better for leaner people who want to preserve as much muscle mass as possible. Why? Because when you diet, you actually pull from both muscle and fat in order to burn calories. So you want to actually go with a much slower rate of loss if you want to preserve as much lean muscle tissue as possible. Moderate is probably good for most people. Aggressive usually means you're going to be hungrier because you have fewer calories. It's more suitable for obese individuals. Why is that? Because when you are in a calorie deficit, and as I mentioned, you'll pull from both muscle tissue and fat tissue to burn calories. Well, people with higher body fat percentages actually pull from more fat tissue. As you lean out, a greater proportion of that will be muscle tissue. So larger people can handle a more aggressive calorie deficit. Maintenance would be for people who want to recomp. What is a recomp? That's basically when you're not changing the number on the scale. You're going to stay about the same weight, but you're going to drop fat and build muscle. And we have a recomp guide on how to do that. Bulking is also called massing, and it's something that typically bodybuilders and physique athletes will use in order to build more muscle, because it's very difficult to build muscle in a calorie deficit. It is possible for new beginners, but after a couple of years, people who are trained already have a harder time putting on muscle. And to do so, they actually need to eat in a small calorie surplus. But whenever you're in a calorie surplus, you're going to put on a tiny bit of fat along with the muscle tissue. So you want to choose the rate of bulking. Cautious would be better for individuals with higher body fat levels. People who are already quite lean, body fat percentage-wise, can go with a slightly more aggressive bulk. And textbook would be about 10%, so 10% more calories a day. Will optimize muscle building without too much fat tissue gain. You can also choose your own custom calories if you know what they are. Now you can choose your nutrition plan in step 3. We would recommend going with balanced. Enter your own ratio would be for somebody who, really prefers a higher fat, lower carb diet, not recommended for athletes. But you can go that route if you like. We give you that option. Balanced is what we recommend, and you have some choices even within balanced. So for example, we recommend at least 0.8 grams per pound of body weight for protein. Why? Because protein is very satiating, and protein helps you preserve more muscle in a calorie deficit, and it helps you build more muscle. So 0.8 grams, the research shows, is is optimal for building muscle. You might want to go a little bit higher if you have the extra calories to do so and you really like eating protein. In terms of fat, we start you off at 0.3. That's enough for health reasons. It's enough to actually keep you healthy. You don't want to drop it too low. And then anything left over will go towards carbs. Now, if you really enjoy your fats, you could go higher, and I'll put 0.4 grams there. But of course, that's going to pull from carbs. Your carbs will automatically drop down as a result. Okay, so let's show you how that all works. Let's say you want to eat 3 meals a day. Let's calculate what this comes out to. All right, so based on an aggressive fat loss plan, eating 0.8 grams of protein per day and 0.4 grams of fat per pound of body weight, we get 148 grams of protein a day, 74 grams of fat, and 110 about carbs, a total of 1,700 calories a day. If you want to eat 3 meals a day, it distributes evenly into this, but you don't have to be perfect. You could have more protein at lunch, less at breakfast. The goal is to always hit 148 grams of protein. There's no need to get too obsessive about this. If you're plus or minus 5 grams for each of these macronutrients, you're still winning. I also recommend you play with this for a couple weeks, like give it 2 weeks at these macros. And if you're not seeing the changes you like, you can adjust. This is sort of a best guesstimate in the beginning. It's a bit like archery. You're just trying to hit the target in the beginning. With practice and time, you'll be able to hit the bullseye. But this is a starting point. This is some data that you can begin to work with here. Okay, so now what happens if you're hungry in an aggressive calorie deficit? It's difficult to sustain. Perhaps you find yourself, binging a little bit on carbs. Well, then I would recommend upping your carbs if you really like them. You could just change this. Now you got 152 carbs, 55 fat a day. Protein stays the same. You could also go with, and carbs are very filling, by the way, and so is protein. You could also choose a more moderate rate of loss and see what happens there. You see the calories went up and the distribution of macros also went up. Okay, so you can play with this. I hope that gives you some ideas. It gives you a starting point to work with. If you have any questions at all, please email support@adelefrizzell.com. All right, thank you for your time.